Hey everybody, it's Jen. Oh, so excited. Today is day one. How are you guys all feeling on there on day one? How's everybody doing? There's been a lot of great comments and posts on Facebook. You guys can post in the question box. Let me know how you've been doing today. I'd love to hear from you guys. You guys are so active. It's awesome. Totally awesome. So we'll get started here in just a second. Just a few housekeeping rules, kind of like the other night for anybody that's new. You have the control panel up on your screen. That's where you can post any questions that you might have throughout the webinar, or I might post some questions to you guys also. And of course, I'll be opening it up for questions at the end, anything about what we go over today, or also any questions that you guys have had just about the cleanse in general, essentially. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. I promise I'm going to try and keep it to 30 minutes tonight after going over the other night. So let's go ahead and dive in here. And I just want to start off with a quick recap for you guys, and I'll do this on every webinar just to kind of help you guys stay on track with things. But obviously today is day one. It started today, so if you guys forgot that for some reason, you better get on it. You want to make sure that you've downloaded your checklist from the virtual bag so that you can track your points at the end of each day. Remember that the concept here is we are removing the most toxic and inflammatory foods from your diet. So you're getting that point every day for being gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and alcohol free. And then we're really focusing on including the strongest naturally cleansing foods. So you guys are testing and trying out things like beets and grapefruit and dandelion greens. And then we're promoting that natural cleansing ability of the body by increasing your water intake, making sure that you're exercising every day, and then getting to sleep by 10 p.m. And obviously there's the bonus point opportunities for you guys to rack up more points to help promote the cleansing process even more, and especially if you miss points on any of the other activities. And I think most of you have sent in your questionnaires already and your before pictures at least. If you guys haven't done that yet, you can still do that. Even though today's day one, you can probably do those questionnaires through the end of the weekend for the most part and still get like an accurate score on those. And then we'll be using those at the end to help you guys evaluate your progress through the cleanse. And you also get to earn points for attending the webinar today, so make sure you mark that down, or if you guys are listening to the recording, you do get points for that too, because the whole point is to teach you guys how to maintain and continue cleansing daily, and that's kind of what you guys are going to learn through the weekly educational webinars. So let's go ahead and talk about cleansing. Today is going to be all about teaching you guys about the anatomy and philosophy, my philosophy specifically of cleansing, so that you guys understand like why we're doing everything that we're doing, and then you're more knowledgeable about the future and helping yourself to maintain or promote your results long term. So what is cleansing exactly? Cleansing is a systematic approach to helping the body remove toxins stored in its fat, tissues, and organs. So most people don't know that toxins are all stored in your fat essentially. So if you guys have ever known anybody who's had like a gastric bypass surgery or something like that where you lose a lot of weight at once, they can actually get really sick because as they're losing all of that fat and that weight, they're expelling all these toxins into their system. So for those of you that might experience some weight loss over the next couple of weeks, you could have some of those detoxing symptoms too as you're releasing some of those toxins, and this is exactly why we're cleansing the body of those toxins in the first place as they're released out of that fat tissue. And my personal philosophy and approach is, we're looking at lifestyle factors to reduce your exposure to toxins while promoting the body's own natural detoxification system. And that's because what is the point in cleansing if you're not going to look at the source of where all the toxins are coming from? If you don't address the source, then it's like you're treading water all of the time and not having as big of an effect as you could possibly have. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be looking at where those toxins are coming from, and we're going to be talking about how do you reduce your toxin exposure, and we're going to dive into that a little bit tonight too. And that kind of takes me to the next slide, the abundance of toxins. Like, we are bombarded by toxins everywhere. You guys might have seen my email a couple weeks ago where I was giving off statistics about how we can encounter somewhere around 2,100,000 2,000 toxins daily in our environment. I mean, could you guys imagine if you had $2,100,000 just dropped in your lap right now, like what that would look like? And think about that in relation to toxins, that those are how many toxins that you're coming across in your environment on a regular basis. So let's take a look at where are those toxins coming from. There's two types of sources. There's external or exogenous exposure, which are things like foods, so pesticides, herbicides, antibiotics, added hormones found in your foods. Like, this is one of the reasons why we're really focusing on making sure that you guys are eating organic to reduce your exposure. Like, this is one of the areas that you can control your exposure to toxins. Also in your air. Obviously, you can't control the quality of the air outside. There's so many carcinogens in the air. And if we can't control that, then we want to look at ways at how can we combat it and help our body process those toxins out of our system. And that's through this process of cleansing that you guys are doing. And then there's also water. Like, people, I know that the government and the media tells us that our tap water is okay to drink, but it's really not, you guys. It's processed with fluoride and all other kinds of chemicals to quote unquote clean it. And if any of you guys have seen the Flint, Michigan stuff that's happening in Mississippi, where they have all this toxic water coming out of their tap from pipes that are eroding. I mean, pipes are eroding all the time. You have no idea what is the state of your pipes that are coming up to your house and the quality of water that you're getting out of that. So it's just best if you guys can focus on making sure that you're drinking filtered water. Like, maybe you have a filtration system in your house, or you can get like a Brita type of filter for your fridge, or making sure that you're buying bottled spring water. And then in your home and your work environment, there's things like electromagnetic fields, like your computers, your cell phones, your iPads. There's your house cleaning chemicals, your laundry detergents. We're going to talk about all of that stuff in the future too, in the coming webinars, about how can you start swapping some of that stuff out, because some of this is controllable as well. Like your house cleaners or the products that you're using, you can control that, versus electromagnetic fields. Most of us have to work on a computer and use a cell phone daily, so that may not be as controllable. But we want to look where we can control it. And then there's things, there's the other category, internal or endogenous exposure, which is things like free radicals. Most people are familiar with that term. Free radicals are damaged cells that are floating around in your body that can be considered toxic waste. There's also bile acids that are produced by your liver and other systems of the body that can be waste that need to be moved out. Hormones can become toxic as well. So for example, we're working on improving your liver function, and your liver is in charge of excreting excess hormones. So if your liver is clogged, then those hormones are not getting excreted. They start to build up, and then that in itself becomes buildup and toxic waste too. Now we also have biochemicals from stress and emotions. So negative emotions, kind of like anxiety or depression, can create negative types of waste in our body in forms of biochemicals. So when you're really stressed out, you produce more of those, or when you're feeling those more, and negative emotions like angry or frustrated, that can happen too. And we're going to kind of talk about the mental emotional piece. I think it's in week 3, then how that's important to the cleansing process as well. And then there's also the overgrowth of parasites, bacteria, and yeast that could be living in your gut. And most of you guys probably don't even know this is happening, but in my health coaching practice, I see this all the time. It's very rare, hardly ever, that I come across a person who doesn't have some type of parasite, bacteria, or yeast overgrowth going on in their gut. And those buggers, they throw off a lot of their own toxic waste. And so part of the cleansing process is eliminating some of that waste that they're throwing off, and also cleansing them out of your system so that they're not so toxic for you. So this is all about the cleansing and what we're going to be doing and working on. And it's all about, looking at those controllable factors amongst all of the variable and invariable things and seeing where you can control it the most overall. So how do we do that? Like, what exactly gets rid of these toxins for us? Because now that we know that we're exposed to toxins all the time, some of you on the other line might be kind of freaking out and going, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, I feel like I need to put myself in a bubble. And that's not the answer necessarily. Like, your body is a very intelligent system, and it has a lot of things and organs and stuff working for you to get rid of these toxins too. So everybody kind of thinks of like the liver as like the detoxification system sometimes, or the kidneys, but there's actually all of these other pieces of the puzzle that are working all the time to help you detox and cleanse this crap out of your system. So you have your urinary tract with your kidneys. You have your respiratory system, like your lungs and your airways, like expelling, CO2 and like used oxygen as a way to get toxins out of your system. So that's really why it's really important to remember to breathe, and taking really big deep breaths and exhaling a lot of that air out gets all that stuck toxic air out of your lungs. Your skin is actually your largest detoxing organ, and it detoxes through the pores. So this is one of the reasons why we're focusing on exercise, is to be getting you guys moving and sweating so that you're releasing some of these toxins out of your skin also. And then of course there's your digestive system, which includes your liver, your gallbladder, and your pancreas. So if you guys were reading some of the liver flushing instructions, it actually is called a liver gallbladder cleanse or flush, and that's because the gallbladder plays a major role in this too. And you're actually working on flushing toxins out of the gallbladder when you do any one of those flushes as well. And then there's something called the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system is basically a pathway of a bunch of vessels and nodes that run just beneath the skin's surface all around your body, absolutely everywhere. So you can go and get like a lymph massage specifically. And this is like your body's sewage system. All of these different pathways that are taking these fluids and moving it around. Your lymphatic system actually doesn't move on its own, even though it's the body's sewage system. You have to actually help to facilitate the movement of the lymphatic system. And one of the ways that you do that is through exercise. So by exercising, again, not only are you sweating that stuff out of your skin, but you're also helping to move the lymphatic system and push those toxins through and out through the body's sewage system. Like I said, another way you can do that is by getting a specific lymphatic massage, or you can do just a light massage of your skin. Body brushing is another way to do that also. And then I touched on briefly on the other slide, there's a mental aspect to the detoxification system too, like your thoughts and feelings. If they're negative, can cause negative biological shifts or physiological effects on your body. So keeping like a more positive state of mind is one of the ways that you can actually help ways to detox your system too. And then kind of like what layers onto that is maybe even a spiritual aspect, like beliefs or morals and values can cause biological and physiological effects also. So if you're kind of playing the victim role all the time, or don't believe in anything, then that can that can really bring your energy down in a negative kind of way and produce some of those negative biochemicals, like brain chemicals that we were talking about before also. So now you guys know what the systems of the body are that work for you in helping to detox. Let's actually do a quick anatomy of cleansing so that you can understand like the different phases that your body moves through in order to flush toxins out of your system. So there's essentially 3 phases of detoxing that occur. There's phase 1, which is called like where oxidation happens, and this means that the liver is using enzymes, which enzymes help to break down different components and molecules. So it's using enzymes and oxygen to actually break down toxins. So when the toxin enters into the stream, then it uses these enzymes and oxygen to break that down. This then kind of creates damaged cells, or some of those free radicals that we were talking about, and those can be seen as toxic waste in themselves. So we want to make sure that we flush and move them out of the body. And you need the proper nutrients to help protect the body against some of these free radicals, which is also one of the reasons why we're focusing on really organic foods, things that are high in nutrient value. So once all that happens, then there's a transition from phase 1 to phase 2, where other cell damaging molecules called ROSs come into play, and antioxidants found in fruits and vegetables and other foods that you're eating are extremely important here in order to protect the body. And if you guys are taking an antioxidant supplement by chance, that's also an extra added benefit here. And then finally, those toxins will move into phase 2, where they're packaged with water molecules for elimination, through the kidneys and the urinary tract. And phase 3 is where those transporters in the liver and the kidneys and the intestines actually excrete those toxins. So now you guys hopefully kind of have a visual of these 3 phases and what's happening a little bit. And this is happening all the time, like constantly throughout the day. There's not like a certain time period that it starts and it stops. It's like these things are happening all the time as toxins are entering into your system. So in order for these 3 phases to actually function, there's certain nutrient requirements that they need. So for example, with phase 1, you need B vitamins and calcium and something called glutathione, which is a natural antioxidant, things like flavonoids, and then amino acids, which amino acids are essentially their protein building blocks. So if you could think of protein as like a Lego, and maybe you're going to build a Lego castle, which would represent your piece of chicken. You need all these different blocks of Legos in order to build your castle. And that's kind of what amino acids are. They're like little protein building blocks, just like Legos are, that are going to make something bigger. So specifically for phase 1, you need things like cysteine and leucine and isoleucine and valine in order for phase 1 to even happen. And then in the transition phase of phase 1 to phase 2, you need antioxidants, vitamin C and vitamin E that you guys are going to be getting through your food. And then for phase 2 to happen, you need things like glycine and fiber and more B vitamins and even more amino acids and even different amino acids than you needed in phase 1. So I'm telling you guys this because this is often where a lot of cleanses will go wrong. They aren't including some of the basic essential things for cleansing. And on top of those things, in order for your body to cleanse, you also need to have a healthy, balanced diet, because that's where you're going to get all of those nutrients coming in. We talked a little bit about probiotics on the kickoff webinar, that those are also helpful to replenish and balance the gut flora, because remember, all of these toxins are going to be flushing through your intestines and your gut. And sometimes digestive enzymes can also be helpful during this process. If you guys are taking some of those already or want a recommendation, I can definitely give you that. They help to break down food so that you can absorb nutrients more easily and they're made more available. And then obviously protein for those amino acids like we talked about. So you can see like where most cleanses will go wrong, because they're usually focusing on deprivation, and deprivation doesn't work. If you're restricting yourself to just juices or limiting foods, it's not going to provide all of the essential nutrients that you need to support all of the phases of detox. Like, balance is absolutely key in this process. I mean, if you guys think about it, for anybody on the line that's ever done like a 3, 5, or even 10-day juice cleanse, you're not getting any protein. And we just saw that in phase 1 and phase 2, protein is absolutely essential in order for those things to even happen. You need those aminos or those protein building blocks in order for it to facilitate those different phases of detoxing. So a lot of people that are on those juice cleanses or depriving themselves of certain foods and restricting too much, they're missing out on those key elements, and then their body is not adequately flushing out toxins. So one of the questionnaires that you guys filled out, hopefully most of you have done already, was the metabolic type. And the metabolic type is how you achieve balance for you. So each type, whether you're a protein type, a carb type, or a mixed type, needs a specific makeup of nutrients. So for example, if you're a protein type, you need 45% protein in every meal in order to balance your system, versus if you are a carbohydrate type, you need only like 20 or 30% protein, and you mostly need 70% carbohydrates. And that's just based off of everybody's genetics and what is ideal for their body and how their body breaks down certain foods. So this is where, one man's food is another man's poison, and why there is no one size fits all diet for everybody, because everybody's body has different nutrient requirements based kind of upon their dietary needs, like how much protein, carbs, and fats they need in their system. So if you guys haven't paid too much attention to that questionnaire yet, I would go back and double check it. If you have questions for me specifically on stuff for you in regards to diet, make sure that you set up your Ask the Expert bonus session, and we can go over some of that stuff. And next week, we're also going to be talking more about the metabolic typing concept and balancing your diet even more. So what I wanted to kind of give this to you guys in phases. Like the first part is just working on cleaning up your diet and eliminating the gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and alcohol, and incorporating those naturally detoxifying foods. And as you get comfortable with that over like the next couple of days or the coming week, then we're going to dive more into redefining your metabolic type and finding out what foods are right for you. But you can start to be mindful of this now to make sure that you're delivering adequate nutrients to your body. And also with that, we want to focus on high energy foods. So I love that I'm seeing you guys post pictures or ask questions about getting organic juices and things like that when you're hitting the store. That's what you guys really want to be focusing on, because when you focus on high energy foods or high quality foods, you're going to get more nutrients out of those foods. So when you go for something organic foods actually have a higher nutrient value than non-organic foods do. So they're higher in vitamins and minerals and those antioxidants that you need to facilitate those different phases of the detoxification process. They're automatically low or don't have sugars and toxins and the inflammatory effects to them. You want to focus on the organic, high quality meats and proteins. So things like your chicken is going to be free range. You're looking for grass fed beef, and you're also looking for plant protein sources too, instead of like a whey protein for anybody that's doing protein shakes out there. So something like hemp or rice or pea protein would be ideal. Like I was saying, the going organic is maximizing that nutrient content, and you can also find like where you find really high value in your nutrients is going to be organic leafy greens. So things like spinach and kale and Swiss chard, and obviously the dandelion greens, and those have those powerful detoxifying benefits for you. Collard greens, different types of lettuces, and the more color that the lettuce has, the more nutrient dense it's going to be. And this is where you guys can add in all kinds of variety of fruits too. I did have some questions about, what fruits can I have? Is this okay? There's sugar in fruits, and that's any type of sugar in fruit is totally fine for this cleanse. And the more variety of fruits that you add into your diet during the next couple of weeks, the more exposure to different nutrients and antioxidants you're going to get. So ones that are really high in vitamins and antioxidants are things like bananas and mangoes and pineapples, pomegranates, acai, berries of all kinds. And then some other extra added bonus veggies are going to be things like asparagus, green beans, cauliflower, broccoli, sweet potatoes and carrots and yams. Those are all really high in like vitamin C's and vitamin E's, some of those antioxidants that you need, and also some of the vitamin B's and stuff like that we mentioned that were needed for the different phases. And then let's talk about also I just wanted to add on here as we start to wrap up a little bit is, why did I pick this time of year to run the cleanse, so that you guys know the benefits of what you're getting out of it, and kind of as a learning tool for how do you use this later on after the cleanse too, is that the best cleansing times of year are actually spring and fall. So I think I mentioned this on the webinar the other night, that this is in perfect alignment right now. Like we literally had the first day of spring was on Sunday. So the whole philosophy behind kind of cleansing in the spring is we've just gone through winter, and you tend to eat a lot of heavier meals in the winter time, like more starchy carbs, heavier meats. We go through the holidays, like I call them the big 4 holidays, where it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day, when there's all kinds of candy being thrown in your face and all kinds of junk food. So all of that can get stuck inside your system, and we want to cleanse all of that stuff out. You can also reduce buildup of allergens during this time. So there's different allergens that you're exposed to during the winter time. And if you think about it, during the winter, you're kind of stuck indoors, like not getting as much fresh air. And all of that contributes to an increase in toxin exposure. We were just talking about the daily toxins that you come encounter with anyways, and then that gets increased over the holidays and festivities and travel environments too. If you guys have been in the airports traveling for the holidays, there's even more toxins that you encounter there. And then fall is the second best time to do some cleansing because you can eliminate any parasite exposure from the summer. Excuse me, you guys. So during the summertime when it's warmer, parasites become more active and lively, like you're more susceptible to them. And you can also, they can also blossom inside of you more. So when you do a cleansing, you can actually help to reduce any type of parasite exposure that you've had or overgrowth of parasites potentially. And going into the fall, you're also going to be cleansing to prepare the digestive system for winter. So kind of cleansing it out and getting it ready for some of those heavier foods that you're going to be consuming. Again, this is another time to reduce buildup of allergens. You know, fall is another very likely time that most people suffer from allergies. So if you go ahead and cleanse all of those toxins out of your body, it can reduce your susceptibility to allergens as well. And it helps to boost your immune system strength. So going into the fall time when there's more colds and like flu season is coming around, it can actually help to boost your immunity because when your liver's running better, your gut is kind of cleaned out, then your immune system is operating at a higher level. So now that you guys know this, like the idea is what you're learning through this process in this spring is you guys can take this and do this again in the fall and the next spring, either on your own or just know that I always hold these cleanse challenges in the spring and the fall, so you can always jump into one of these and follow along with the group and have that accountability and support to do so. So that kind of brings us to the end. I'm proud of myself. I kept it to 30 minutes for you guys. I want to check in with you to see what kinds of questions you have about any of the content that we reviewed tonight, or just any questions if you guys have about getting the cleanse started today, things that have come up for you around like what foods you should be eating, how do you do the liver or the castor oil packs. Go ahead and type any of your questions that you have into the question box, and I can address those live for you guys right now. So anybody have any questions for me? Kind of a quiet group tonight. No questions? Well, that's a good sign. I guess that means that you guys know. Oh, wait, I'm getting some questions now. Morgan says, can we discuss the water requirements? Yeah, I saw on Facebook, a couple of you guys were posting that it seems really hard to get in that much water. So I know that it might seem hard, but the reality is that based upon your body weight, that is probably the right amount of water for you, and you're just not used to drinking that much water. So if you can't do it right away, what I would suggest for you guys to do is just slowly increase it every day. So if you're used to drinking, let's say 60 ounces of water, then tomorrow try to go to just add another 8 ounces, and every day try to add another 8. And maybe that's not where you're going to be earning your points right now, and that's totally okay because you have these bonus point opportunities in order to, make up for some of those points that you're not able to get in. But ultimately, I do want you to try to increase your water intake from where it is. If you guys are adding water to maybe you're making a smoothie in the morning, or you're having some of the detox tea, obviously that is water too. So you can count some of that towards your water as well. So if you're doing like a cup of detox tea, and that might be 8 or 10 ounces of water right there that you weren't even counting before. So Morgan says, but don't fresh vegetables include water on top of that? And they do, but Morgan, there's really no way for us to account for the water. So I'm aiming for you guys to get in an adequate amount of drinking water. And then also some vegetables can become dehydrated when you're cooking them specifically, or they can become dehydrated from being in the refrigerator also. So it's hard just to calculate that in. So just do your best to aim towards the water. Again, if it feels out of your reach, just slowly increase it every day. And as you start to work up, you'll get to that point where you can maybe earn your points. And if it just seems not doable for you, then you have all these other areas to earn your points in, and just do the best that you can with your water. And Trisha was asking, will you have the info from the slides available? Yes, I'm going to post the recording. So you guys will get an email tomorrow with the link to the recording and a recap of some of the questions also in an email. And all of the webinars are going to live on that same link that you already got the recording for the kickoff webinar. And that is also posted up in the virtual goodie bag for you as a resource there too. So it's kind of like that virtual bag is a one-stop shop for most of your links and everything. And if there's a link that's not on there and you guys want it on there, I think I included everything. Just let me know and I can go ahead and throw anything up there that might be missing potentially, or you guys want extra. So, all right, you guys, any other questions for tonight? Cool. Well, I will go ahead and let you guys go and get to your dinners and maybe your castor oil packs or your liver flushing for this evening. Thanks everybody for being on. And just a reminder that, or maybe not a reminder, I haven't told you guys yet, but next week I will be gone for the live webinar. So I will be sending out the recording on Wednesday, or it actually will come out on Thursday. So you guys will have a recorded version on Thursday. There's no live webinar next Thursday. It'll just be a recording, and then we'll resume the live webinars the week after that. So thanks everybody. Have a good evening, and I will see you on the Facebook group and talk to you soon.